I recently had a question that was asked to me. Is there a defensive play that I would run if the game was on the line? For example, maybe it's in the end of the game or in the fourth quarter and they've got the ball down inside my 10. They're down by 6. I know if they score a touchdown, kicks an extra point, they could win. And say it's 4th and 10, 4th and 7, 4th and goal, whatever. And this is about what I'm going to show here. Would be something that I might run to go ahead and counter my opponent. Now, I can't guarantee this is going to stop your opponent. The idea of this is to hopefully get enough defenders in there to prevent them from being able to throw the ball and completing it. And that's the idea of this. So let me go ahead and show you a couple different defenses that I may run to go ahead and hopefully allow me to win the game. And the first one I want to show, this is out of the nickel normal 2-man under. And the setup I'm about to show is one you've probably seen many, many times online throughout the year and even throughout many seasons since they've had the playmaker as far as on defense adjustments. And this one's pretty simple. And again, I'm sure you guys have seen this one. For me, what I would do is I would put this guy right here, which is going to be the right end. If you look at it, he's going to go into the purple zone or the curl to the flat zone. And then for me, a lot of times I'll end up hot routing these two defensive tackles in the QB spy, such as what you see here. And then finally, this guy right here, which is going to be the left end, I would put him in the curl to the flat as well, or the purple zone, as you can see on your screen. Now, the reason for this is you look at it, I'm going to have 5 defenders in man coverage, and I'm going to have those 2 safeties playing over the top. And as far as playing, and I'm not going to have anybody rushing the quarterback. So probably is going to end up happening is my opponent's going to have all day to throw it. Hopefully, when he tries to throw it, I have so many players out there, and if he finds a receiver that's open for just a second, hopefully one of them will knock the ball out, and then I'll end up winning the game. So that's the idea of this defense as far as this particular setup. All right, I want to go ahead and show you another setup that's very similar to this one, and the only difference is this one's going to be a zone defense. And for example, let me come out in this one here. This is going to be a cover 2 defense that I would run, and we'll run the same play here, just run this offensive play here. And this one, as I said before, it's another cover 2 type defense. Rather than being cover 2 man, this is cover 2 zone. And it'd be pretty much the same setup. I would go ahead and hot route him into a curl to the flat. These 2 guys, the 2 defensive tackles, into QB spy. And then finally this guy right here into the curl to the flat. So again, I'm going to have 11 guys dropping back, and I'm going to end up trying to hopefully find someone open. Now, I realize that some of you guys out there probably don't like to do this. You don't like to have 11 guys, and it's kind of cheesy in a way, I guess. But in this year's game and even in years past, it's one of the ways to defend the pass. And with the pressure not always getting home like you want it to, sometimes you got to do this type of stuff and resort to it. And like I said, I prefer not to. But the question was, if I had a play on defense that I would use if the game was on the line, these are some of the defenses I may throw at my opponent. Hopefully I can stop and win the game. If you got 11 guys dropping back, you got those 2 guys in spy, chances are, even if he's got a fast quarterback, you should be able to stop him. Something that you might consider doing, and with this particular setup as well, the 2-man under, you may want to do this. Since if they have a really fast quarterback, you may want to put your right in. A lot of times he's your fastest defensive end, or you could use the linebacker pass rush and put a faster linebacker there, or even sub him in and do something like this. So as you look at it, nothing's really changed outside of this. I put this right in. Now he's in QB spy, give me a little bit extra speed to make sure my opponent can't take off with the quarterback. And rather than him dropping back into curl to the flat, it's now going to be the weak side defensive tackle that drops back into the curl to flat. So you can do that as well with the 2-man under, as well as the cover 2 that I'm showing here. So that's 2 different setups right there. All right. Now, there are some times that I may want to call a defense to bring some pressure on the quarterback. And I want to go ahead and show you one. Actually, I'll show you a couple different ones that I may run that's going to allow me to do that, and yet hopefully get to the quarterback and get a sack out of it and still yet have some nice coverage. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Sugar 3-seam defense. This is one I want to show off the bat here. And let me just go through a little bit here, my thought on it. What I'll do on this one on occasion, something I might do is throw him into the curl to flat, which is going to be the right end. This guy, I'm going to go ahead and put him in QB spy. Now this guy right here is the one that's supposed to drop back in a hook zone over in that area there. I'm going to move him to the outside, and I'm going to re-hot route him to blitz. So he's going to be on the outside. And then this guy right here who's in there, as you see in the box right there, now you can do 1 or 2 things with him. You can leave him in there, and I'm going to go ahead and leave him alone and not move him. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-hot route this guy into a hook zone. All right, so that's going to be the strong side defensive tackle. So let's go back over this real quick. This guy's in the curl to the flat. That's the right end. This guy right here is in QB spy. This guy right here, which is that linebacker who's up in the A-gap, which is going to be the linebacker there, I'm not going to do anything with him, though sometimes I may move him. Then that just takes away the idea of this. I'm trying to make my opponent think that I'm coming up the gut, even though I'm not. And then this guy right here, which is going to be the strong side defensive tackle, we'll put him in the hook zone, such as you see on your screen there. And then this guy right here, which is going to end up being the left end. I need him to rush because I need him to go ahead and make sure that that right tackle blocks. Now that outside guy, which is this one right over here, the one I'm in control of now, I want him to put the pressure on the quarterback from the outside. And a lot of times when you move these guys further out wide, they don't get blocked. So let's go ahead and run the play. And then he comes from the outside, and I still get the pressure. So that might be something that I would run to allow me to get the pressure and yet have only a 3-man pass rush and then dropping 8 guys back in the pass coverage. So this is something else I would consider doing. I'm going to show you something else here in just a second with another setup that's very similar to this. And you can see right there that I get the pressure on the quarterback. So that might be something I might run. I know this is kind of a little bit, some of you might think it's a little cheesy, and I totally understand in a way it could be. And, you know, again, if you don't want to run this, you don't have to. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I'm just trying to show you guys some different things. And like I said, the question was, what would be my go-to defenses if I had to defend, especially if they're inside the red zone, they're trying to score in the last play of the game. And this would be something I might do. All right, let's go back in here and look at one more defense. And this one, as I said before, is going to be very, very similar to what I just showed, with one slight difference. Let's just go find a cover 1 defense, and this is the one right here. And for me, as I said before, it's very similar to what I've already shown here. And so what I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this guy into QB, or excuse me, into curl to flat. That's the right end. Put this guy in QB spy. Now this one, I'm going to take control of this guy right here, and I'm actually going to make him the outside blitzer. Now my opponent might know what I'm doing here. He might see that guy going out, or he's going to blitz me, so I may need to do some kind of countering. Cool thing about this is you don't always have to blitz him if you wanted to. I could still just allow him to drop back into coverage. I could put him in a curl to flat over here. And so I only got a 2-man pass rush, and hopefully he's going to start leaving his halfback in, maybe leaves his tight end in, and he does all this other crazy stuff to defend that, even though that guy's not really rushing. Here, I'm going to go ahead and rush him, though. And you can see right there we got a 3-man pass rush, and we're looking to get pressure from the outside. And here comes the pressure from the outside. So that's up to you guys. If you guys want to run this type of stuff, again, I understand if you don't. And for most of the time, I try to be pretty realistic. I don't try to do a lot of shady stuff, but sometimes you have to. And unfortunately, the game's on the line, and you want to win. Sometimes you got to resort to stuff that maybe is not stuff that they would really run. But at any rate, that's what I like to run, and hopefully this helps you guys out. So if that question is, what defense would I run if I needed a go-to defense to stop a play in the end of the game that was going to allow me to win? And these are some of the defenses that I might run and throw at my opponent.